Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to be working on this cute little mini buffet. I initially purchased this piece because of the wonderfully carved detail in the legs, so I knew I wanted to do something special. However, this piece has a very thick finish, or I should say multiple layers of finish. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to test out that viral hack that I've been seeing all over Instagram using Easy Off oven cleaner to remove finish. Hey, jumping right into this project, I wanted to first test out on these two M trim pieces whether or not there was a difference between the original and the generic brand Easy Off. If you look at the price, there's a $1.26 price difference. So depending on how many cans of this stuff you're going to end up using, it could make a big difference. I also picked up a pair of reusable cleaning gloves. This stuff is pretty caustic, so you want to make sure and protect your skin at all times and make sure you're in a well ventilated area. And then also a $1 scrub brush. Okay, so actually, this is the one with the generic brand. It worked pretty good. I let it sit on there for about 10 minutes. I'm going to need to do several layers of this, so it's going to be a long process, but not bad. And then this is the Easy Off. Pretty similar. To further test out the difference between the original and the generic, I did half and half on this first coat, and yes, they seem to work just the same still. After one coat of stripper, did a pretty good job. Got all this varnish coming off like skin. I was scrubbing it as I was spraying it, and all this stuff was coming off. So yeah, there's a good piece right there. It almost looks like this was painted and then stained or still flaking. I've used about a little over 2 cans of Easy Off so far. I got 2 cans left. We've done 2 full applications, so about a can an application. It's definitely going to need a 3rd coat, if not a 4th coat. I did see one Instagram video by the Vintage Porch where she says she did 7 applications. I will say a big difference between the Easy Off original and then the generic is the Easy Off foams up real nice and it kind of stays in place better. It's almost like stripper in the sense where you don't want to let it dry, because once it dries, it kind of lets all that stuff just stick back onto the surface again. So I'm spraying it real good, and I was letting it sit for about 10-15 minutes and then coming over and scrubbing it really good. Here's what it looked like after the third round of easy off. Yes, finish continued to come off, but there was still a lot left, especially in the really tight grooved areas. With the exception of the veneer was completely clean. The top still needed a lot of work as well. I had a lot of finish left on there. I wasn't feeling too hopeful, especially with these two major damage spots in the upper right hand corner. Look how wet I was, guys. I was so soaking wet. But, you know, I'm taking one for the team, doing this for you so you don't have to. On to round number 4. By this point, most of that real flaky varnish had already been removed, so I also decided to incorporate using a little bit of fine grade steel wool to try to get into those details a little bit better. This is something that I have seen Natalie from the Vintage Porch do on her Instagram page. If you aren't already following her, she does amazing work and you definitely won't be disappointed. I will leave a link not only to her Instagram page, but also to her blog post where she also talks about this process in detail. And here's what it looked like after the fourth coat of Easy Off. You can finally see some wood grain. This piece is very wet. It was soaking wet and it had been wet most of the day. I would have liked to have done another application of Easy Off, but I ran out. I only had 4 cans. So I decided to just dry it as much as I could and then leave it outside to air dry overnight. I used my forced air dog hair dryer to help in the process. It blows out air at a high velocity and it has a heat setting which helps it along the way. Here's what it looked like in the morning after it was all dry. You can tell that most of the finish did get removed. I still had some thick finish left in the really deep grooves on this piece. However, the top looked a lot better than what I was expecting. I honestly thought that I was going to have to completely repaste this top, but after seeing it in the morning, I was not mad at it. This one area here where the veneer was bubbled and it was really damaged, I did put something heavy overnight and it helped settle it. Looking at the legs, the areas where I had a lot of really deep grooves is where the finish was still kind of settled in there. But I'm pretty confident had I had more Easy Off and I did at least 1 or 2 more applications, I would have probably been able to get it all removed. After it was completely dry in the morning though, I decided instead of going to get more Easy Off and repeating the process to just sand down whatever was left because of this right here. Yes, that's a crack. And I had cracks in other areas of this piece as well. So does the Easy Off method work? Yes, absolutely. But is it an easier method? This process takes multiple layers and it takes quite a bit of time. We all know time is money. If it takes you all day to strip a piece of furniture versus using traditional stripper, is it really worth it? Probably not. Also, this method requires you to use quite a bit of water, rinsing it off over and over again, causing the wood to be fully saturated, allowing it to expand and contract, opening up the risk of possible damage. I had a lot of damage to this piece that wasn't there before. I had cracking along the veneer, small chips, especially on an older antique piece of furniture. Is it a risk that you're going to want to take? A friend of mine mentioned that I wonder if this process works if you keep it wet. Just like a stripper, if you allow the oven cleaner to dry prematurely, the finish tends to redeposit itself onto your piece. So I wanted to also test out that method. I tried it out on this pediment. I sprayed the Easy Off and then gave it a nice scrub, put it inside of a garbage bag and set it out in the sun for a while. I did find that this method
Didn't need as many coats as what I did on my mini buffet.
I had also heard it
Worked well on painted surfaces. I happen to have a restoration hardware chair that was painted blue. I got this chair for free, so I tested out also on that piece. I did find that the oven cleaner tend to make the paint very, very gummy, and it was kind of hard to get off at that point. But once I got real close with the hose handle and gave it as much pressure as I could, it really released a lot of that product. With all that being said, I do not think that this process is any easier than a traditional stripper. In fact, I think it takes way longer. But however, I would like to try it maybe one more time in the summer months when it's nice and hot. I think the drying time would be a lot less, and I would do it only on a smaller piece, maybe some furniture legs or any kind of like small decor. I also would like to try it with the help of a pressure washer. So you may be seeing me revisit this topic one more time. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate it. I hope maybe you learned something with me. And till next time, happy junking.